want to thank you all for coming here. My name is Laurel. I'm the co-founder of Educators in VR, and welcome to another Univirtual Experience. This is a partnership conference and a festival that is exploring immersive technology with Virtual World Society and Educators in VR. And we're bringing together experts and innovators in immersive education, planning on disrupting education all around the world. Now, before we start with this amazing presentation on photogrammetry with Mark Jeffcock here, I want to just take a moment to thank our amazing sponsors. So HP Virtual Reality and HP Higher Education are
Sorry, Laurel, are you on megaphone? You're a bit
yes,
quiet
I am.
to me. Oh, okay.
Yes, I am. Okay, thank you for checking. Our sponsors are HP Virtual Reality and HP Higher Education. They're our Infinity sponsors, and they just released the new HP Reverb G2. Check that out. It's perfect for higher ed and businesses and whatnot to push your VR experiences, testing and experimenting to the highest level. Also thank our Galaxy sponsors, Engage VR and Advantis Education, that are also helping to change the face of education in VR and XR. Now, I want to get right to the point of all of this after I thank Tony Cube Studios and all of our video team. Please give it up for just a second for our amazing video team that have been trying to capture as many of these events as possible. They're all volunteers. They're all giving of their hearts and souls to make this production have a legacy that goes beyond. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, as we continue with our Univirtual Experience with
went quiet. Must be over to me.
Attack us here. No, I'm sorry. It's my internet. No, it is. It is over to you now. Okay.
Okay. Right. Welcome, guys. I recognize a few faces in the audience from various world building courses or the like. Welcome to Monday, start of a working week. Let's just do a few intros again. This is me. I am happily semi-retired. I used to have a career, Reuters, BT, Save for Children. I now do part-time work, part-time tutoring for tryuniverse.com. We've got a couple of courses on world building, Unity, C#, and we're just moving into doing VR apps at the moment. Very exciting time to be trying to teach in VR. So I was approached by Laurel and Donna saying, photogrammetry, come in, teach something. And they use the magic word workshop. And I thought, workshop sounds good because I can make other people do the work. So this is going to be all about photogrammetry, but this little talk here is going to be a lecture, a chat. You just stand there and watch me, but that's not going to be the point of the week. The point of the week is to try to get as many of you as possible to produce your own piece of photogrammetry. Right, what have I got on the enormous screen behind me? I have, down the bottom here, a whole range of photographs that somebody has taken. And up above there, you can see a representation of a statue, and the blue rectangles are all the camera positions which they used when they took these lower photographs. So that's your basics. You need to take a lot of photographs. I'm going to set you up to take 30, 50, 60 photographs maybe. I'm going to give advice over the next few days, but by the end of the week, we should be able to get to a stage where you can all produce at least one piece of photogrammetry. There's a piece over here. This is not one of mine. This was a professional piece by a group called Global Digital Heritage. It's a Greek vase, a Greek drinking cup, which you found in Sicily. And I just brought it down from Sketchfab. I made it a bit smaller in terms of megabytes to get it into Altspace, but it's come out quite nicely. But I'll bring a piece in every day just to show you problems. This one, there's no real problem with this. It's a beautiful piece, but I'll bring you some on my early work in, which may not be quite so good. Okay, so let's try and think about examples of photogrammetry that you might see in Altspace now. Way at the top, there's another thing similar to that Greek skyphos. There's a nice Greek jug there, that of global digital heritage as well. Statue in the middle, that's a funeral statue of a Roman soldier who died in Colchester. Over here, this one's one of mine. This is part of a Roman wall in Colchester. In medieval times, they weren't terribly interested in archaeology, so they used to build the houses right up against the old Roman wall. And the guy who built the house next to this part of the Roman wall then dug their own chimney into the wall. So they dug a big fireplace and put a chimney through it. And that made an interesting piece of photogrammetry. What have we got here? This is a ruined priory, again in Colchester. The guy who did this isn't one of mine, but the guy who did it took about 600 photographs, all from ground level. He just went around snapping, fed it through the software. Must have taken quite a while with 600 photographs. But he produced a lovely piece of modeling photogrammetry, which I've turned into an Altspace world. This one similarly have an Altspace world based on this piece of photogrammetry. Castle in Scotland, Tantallon Castle. The guy who did this basically sent up a drone with a video camera on it, captured several minutes worth of video and just took every, I don't know, a frame every 2 seconds or so, and then used that as the basis for the photogrammetry. Okay, so we are not going to be able to do all of this full scale. You should certainly be able, in this course, to do the stuff on the top row. If you want to, we can go as far as that sort of size, or you can keep it relatively small and do something like a jug. The last time I gave this course, I think people went away and did a hat and a shoe. Shoes maybe a little bit small. And I'll talk about scale and picking your subject at a later stage, probably tomorrow. Okay, so here I'm just going to give you the plan again. There's 4 of these talks, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's all going to be hints, tips, ideas. And at the end of the talk, I will give an assignment. So, 30 minutes by me, and then I'm asking for approximately 1 hour, maybe less, probably not any more than 1 hour per day, to try and complete your assignment before the next talk. So you've got 23 hours before the next talk, because the Tuesday chat is half an hour earlier than this one is today. And then next Monday, we will try and compile everything you have produced and put it into a world or a couple of worlds if we have too many things that have been produced, and we'll wander around and take a look at the produced outputs, critique them, you know, see how good they are. All right. Yeah, let's take a look at what that means in practice. Okay, this is what it means in horrible practice. For today, I'm just giving you the intro, the idea. I'm going to talk a little bit about what equipment you're going to need to be able to do this, and don't be scared by the idea of having equipment. It's almost certainly stuff you've got, and ask you to do a bit of setup. Then stuff in bold up here saying student, go into a Discord and install 3ds Zephyr 3. These are going to be your assignments before the next talk. So I've set up a Discord. So just type in the URL discord.me/photog, and then you'll be offered the chance to then join that server. Please do so, because I will put in all of the materials that you need into that Discord. So this set of slides will be in there. Any of the links or URLs that I mentioned will also be in that Discord, and you can ask questions of me, which I will attempt to answer. But please recall that I am in the UK, and any answer I give after 10 o'clock at night in the UK will be completely useless. So let's just wait. You may just have to wait until UK time comes around again the next day before I come up with any decent answers. So let's go through that week. Monday, intro equipment setup. Tuesday is going to be what? Examples of the photography you'll need to do, what angles you'll need to take the photographs at, and joining Sketchfab. Basically, if you are not already a Sketchfab member, I'm going to ask you to join Sketchfab. So then that's over to the student. You're going to take your photographs between Tuesday and Wednesday and join Sketchfab. On Wednesday itself, I'm going to talk through the processing necessary to turn your photos into a piece of photogrammetry, and hopefully by the end of that process you can upload your photogrammetry to Sketchfab. If we get a bit behind, you can always come on and do this stuff a little bit late, but trying to keep up will make my talk a touch more relevant. So Thursday, here we are. I'm going to offer you the choice of moving a model that you produced into Altspace via Unity or not via Unity. Now, I'm aware that there's a fair number in the audience I can see who know how to use Unity, but I can't presume that you all do. There is a method of moving a model from Sketchfab into Altspace via a model type called, a format type called GLTF, and we'll go through the steps for that. It's a little bit fiddly, but it's better than having to learn Unity in one day, which probably isn't possible. So you download the model that you previously stuck up to Sketchfab, and we'll upload it to Altspace. Or at the very least, you can give me a link to the GLTF or share a kit with me, and then I will do some work trying to put that all together into a world. Okay, anybody looking trouble with Altspace avatars? They don't show fear terribly well. They don't see any fear in your eyes yet. All right, equipment. This is what you're going to need. You are going to need a digital camera. I suppose it's not strictly essential. You can get away with a phone camera. That digital camera up there, that's mine, but it was bought a few years ago, and it certainly wasn't top of the range then. You don't need a fantastically good digital camera. You just need a camera which can produce digital photos for you. If you don't have one, I'm fairly sure you've got a phone which can take pictures, and both would be usable as long as you could transfer your photos over to a PC. PC, yeah. I've got, look at that, wonderful picture of a PC that I took off the internet. You do not need the colored lights. Nobody needs the colored lights. It would be convenient if your PC had a GPU, if it had a graphical processing unit. It's not essential. A PC would work. Without a GPU, it will just do the processing a great deal slower than it would with a GPU. I will point out some software that you could use with a Mac for any people who only have a Mac and not a PC, but I'm not going to be able to give you an awful lot of help if you are a person with a Mac. I'll just tell you which software you could use, but I haven't personally used that software because I am advising everybody to use this piece of software for this workshop. 3ds Zephyr free. Note the word free at the end. There are limitations on that software, but they are all limitations which actually will be quite helpful for us to learn. It limits us to using only 50 photographs. Now, 50 photographs is enough to produce a piece of photogrammetry, probably not a very large piece of photogrammetry, but if your first job, let's keep it small anyway. There are limits with 3ds Zephyr 3 in terms of how large a model you can push out, but we don't want a very large model anyway because we want to bring it into Altspace, and its export functions are pretty well limited to uploading it to Sketchfab. But that is all to the good, because Sketchfab is a good place to keep any photogrammetry models that you make. Right, what have I not covered? I've not covered tripod. This has got a question mark against it. It is not essential. You can get away just by holding the camera in your hands and taking all the shots necessary that way. I like using a tripod because it gives me a certain steadiness of a camera, and I can keep. We're going to do lots of taking photographs around things. We're going to do circling round the object, taking photographs again and again and again. With a tripod, I can be sure I'm taking them all at the same height. So it's useful if you've got one, but again, not essential. And again, I just mentioned, we're going to end up in Altspace with your models. And Unity world building would be helpful in this, but it's not essential. Okay, moving forward. So I wanted to mention other software here. We are going with this one for this workshop. If you like it, you can buy a subscription. You buy a subscription, you won't be limited to 50 photographs. You can do many more. I've got a few other ones I wanted to mention. Agisoft up the top there. That was the one that did Colchester Priory. Very nice piece of software. Capturing Reality, I've seen some fantastic examples of their work. They're beginning to get involved in capturing moving 3D models, visual capture. And I lifted two at the top, which I've read good reviews of, Colmap and MicMap, which should both work with a Mac. So if you are Mac user only, and you still want to give a shot on the course, and I can see a love from Michael M over there, you want to take a look at Colmap and MicMap and see which one you fancy just grabbing a free version of, and see if you can work through that. Okay, powering forwards. This is a slide you're not going to like so much. Maybe worth taking a photo shot of this because you want to know what the links are. But the important thing is discord.me/photog. Type that in as your URL, join the Discord, and I shall welcome you, and we'll pass on our messages about how far we get on. But assignment for your next 23 hours. Please install 3ds Zephyr 3. Doesn't take very long. Decent piece of software. Just takes up space on your PC, and it will say, haha. It will remind you every time you log in that we'd really like you to pay them some money, but just ignore that. One of the reasons why I chose 3ds Zephyr 3, apart from its cheapness of price, is it has a fantastically good set of videos explaining how to use it. We don't have to watch all of those, but you might want to watch the first one. Is the link saying where all the tutorials are. Watch the basic workflow one. It will talk you through how photogrammetry works generally and how that piece of software will work later on. So I would advise you to maybe watch that first basic workflow video, and that will give you an idea of what you're going to do in later days. But the assignment for today, or from now until the next talk, is just the installations. Install Zephyr 3, watch a video on how photogrammetry works. I will put up, immediately after this talk, the slides for the next talk. So if you're really, really keen to run ahead, you can look in the Discord channel and see the slide for the next talk. But if you want the context and me doing the explanation of what's going on, wait until the actual talk tomorrow, which will all be about actually taking photographs. Okay. And I've spun through here because I want to make this all short and snappy. Participation. Well, I've now put the hand raising on, and this is your chance to ask questions. Again, just remind you, discord.me/photog, and the channel with all the information that I've been talking about up to now will be in the channel Monday resources. Okay. So, Steve, ask me a question or two. We've got 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, and you are all still here. I don't think how many people have left when they discovered they might have to do work? Nobody. Ooh, a few things coming in. Let's have a try. Steph. Hold on. I'm having trouble getting you a microphone. There you go. Who? Steph, are you out there?
I'm here.
Ah, hi.
Hi. I was wondering if you tried LiDAR and if you compared it between photogrammetry and LiDAR.
No, I haven't tried LiDAR as yet. And I was stunningly tempted to buy an iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, which have LiDAR integrated in it. But I've seen a few examples where they've produced photogrammetry from it. It is a very fast workflow, i.e. you take your iPhone 12 and you wave it in front of something, couple of different angles, you shoot the video up to the cloud, and it comes back and says it's produced a model. But the quality of a model doesn't seem as good as I would have hoped. So at the moment, I'm not shooting down the LiDAR route, but I'm just keeping my eye on it as to when we should start, leaping in and using the LiDAR versions as well. I'm hoping that the next version of the iPhone will be much improved.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Let's try something from, who have we got here? Steve. Which of many Steve is that? Ah, one over here. Good day.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, you're on.
Great. I was just going to say to the LiDAR comment with the iPhone 12, I've been looking at a product called EveryPoint, which actually combines photogrammetry and LiDAR into the one device, though it's designed to help fill in the holes where your LiDAR has some blind spots it picks up from the imaging. So that might be an interesting experiment down the road.
I think that the software that the iPhones tend to load up to does attempt to use both.
This one particular app called EveryPoint does both.
Right.
It's designed to do both for that purpose.
You definitely want to mix the two together. The LiDAR is just really getting you a decent quality depth map, whereas the photos are going to wrap the texture around any model that it manages to image. Okay. Laurel, did you want to come in?
Absolutely. Yes, and yes, yes, yes. Now, I know you're going to talk about this later, but can you just give us a little hint for those of us that are overeager? What can and cannot be? What kind of object can or cannot be done? Is there some no-nos? Just some quick
tomorrow is going to be a lot more about what's a good thing to shoot and what's not a good thing to shoot. So if you do join the Discord, take a look at the slides that I will put up. 2 things to watch out for. You don't want something with a very plain surface or a shiny surface. So the trouble with a plain surface is that there's not enough for the photograph to catch onto and say, well, how far away from me is that? So if you pick something which is completely white covered, I think I did my front room at one time, one wall, the wallpaper had been stripped off and it had no idea how far away that wall was. So when it tried to put it together in photogrammetry, it was extremely bobbly. So that's something to avoid. You want something with texture. So this Skyphos here didn't have texture, but it had lots of pattern on it. So pattern is good, or texture is good. And then the other thing to avoid is anything with a small hole in it. I'm going to bring in an example tomorrow, which was a carving that I had from Kenya, and it had lots of holes in it. And I thought, that's fine, that will show up well. And it didn't, because the software couldn't figure out how far a hole went. And it thought, I can't tell if that's a hole or whether there's something there. And it sort of made a false join. So it closed the holes, and that wasn't very helpful either. So avoid plain or shiny. Avoid anything with small holes. For size, I'm recommending anything between 0.5 meter and 10 meters. So if you do want to do something big, if you want to do a small garden, or indeed try and do a room, I think that's possible with 50 photographs or so. If you do something very small, it's possible, but you've got to keep it, you've got to fill out the frame of a photo that you take. So you don't want it in the distance, otherwise it'll just turn up as a small blob. Okay, got a few more questions coming in. Brian, I think I didn't get you first time round. Hello, Brian, you should be on now. Hello? Are you out with Brian? I'm not hearing anything. Okay, I'm afraid your microphone's not working for you. Let us try VR Go Gene.
Hello. I was wondering, if you are photographing an object, what do you do about backgrounds? Should it be on like a white seamless or something?
No, but it's completely unnecessary. In fact, it's probably better if your background is textured as well. Mm-hmm. So that way the camera will know, or the photogrammetry software will know that there is a background, but it'll figure out, oh, it's 5 meters behind the object, and it will attempt to produce that. The further away it will have problems, but it's better to produce something. So again, we're delving into a lesson or two ahead. I took pictures of basically a chimney, a fireplace outside, and it took lots of photographs of my garden as well, and it tried to build all of my garden. Fine, but that wasn't the object I was interested in, but the fact that it did it meant that I could cut it out of the final produced work. I could say, right, you can completely ignore everything which isn't in this rectangle in the middle. And because it had correctly mapped where it was, it could ignore the rest of the garden and just concentrate on the object that I had picked. So yeah, try and think about what object you might want to do. I'll talk about this more tomorrow, but try and think of something reasonable size. Do you want to go big? Do you want to go small? Or do you want to go something about 1 meter or so large, a barbecue or something along those lines? Okay, I'll have a shot with NL1106.
Yeah, hi, you were talking. Do you hear me? Yeah.
Hi,
I was wondering if I
you.
could use a Fuse XR camera, which is a 3D camera.
Let's have a think.
Like you
have
the Fuse, which is a 360 camera.
Yeah.
And you have the Fuse XR, which is
you can use a 360-degree camera.
Okay.
If you took 360-degree photographs, but what will happen is that the photogrammetry software will say, oh, you've taken a 360-degree photograph. Do you want me to cut it into 6 different photographs? Okay. Up, down, right, left, forward, back. And it will attempt to do that, but I don't think I think the quality suffers. I tried that again for doing a room, because I thought, well, I could get away with doing a room with about 6 photographs, on a 360-degree camera, and it does work. But as I said, I think the quality suffers too much. You're better off with a straight digital camera. And I don't think a 3D camera works at all, because basically what you're getting is just two different shots out of a 3D camera quite close together.
Okay, I'll try it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, you can give it a shot. Experiment and prove me wrong, please do. Okay, so I think we've run to the end of our questions and to the end of our time. So I'm going to risk it and ask, do you throw up emojis if you're actually going to give this a go this week? Oh, we've got a few brave folks there. Well done, Dragon F. Want to see it? Yes, I think we're about half and half here.
Oh, this is
Okay,
exciting.
back to you, Laurel.
All right. Wow. Everyone, give it up for Mark Jeffcock. This is going to be such an exciting week with the Univirtual experience. I am so excited. Look at this. Feel the love, Mark.
Thank you,
have
guys.
challenged us. I love this. And we're going to be just changing Altspace with this. We're going to be bringing in some, and I cannot wait to see the amazing things that you all bring in and do, because the creativity that is here in Altspace, unbounded. Just love that. So thank you, everyone. This has been another Univirtual Experience Conference with the Virtual World Society and Educators in VR. We're bringing all the experts together here for this month-long conference meets festival to help disrupt education with XR immersive technology. And hopefully we're doing that. This is the start of week 2. And we have, not only do we have this amazing week-long session here with Mark Jeffcock, but we're going to use another Mark. So Mark Gill is going to be doing, I can't remember if it's next week, but anyway, it's coming up. It's also doing a week of special tips, tricks for Unity building here in Altspace and beyond. So get ready for that. Keep an eye on the calendar. You can check out all of our calendar and schedule events at educatorsinvr.com. You'll see a big button there. I want to thank you, Mark, for doing this. I really, really appreciate this so very much. Also want to thank our amazing sponsors, HP, with their higher education and their virtual reality and all their headsets. Thank you to HP. Also to Engage VR Advanced. Our film.
Okay, you're cutting out a bit, Laurel.
Oops. Oh, thank you. No. Am I back now?
You're back.
Yes, no?
Yes.
I'm back. Okay. So I want to thank Tony Cube's studio and all of our volunteers for doing the videos and everything else, and all of our volunteers that are helping to make this event possible. All right. Thank you all. We can close up the video, and I'm going to unmute everyone and take ourselves off megaphone. Mark, you going to hang for just a minute?
Just for a few minutes.
To answer
Please
a few
join the
questions?
Discord. If you've got other questions, throw in questions on the Discord, and I'll see what I can do.